Culturally Lit Podcast with Elena Castillo. Immerse yourself in the world of musicians, authors, foodies, and epic travel adventures. Tune in weekly on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts. And visit culturallylit.com for special offers. Culturally Lit.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Culturally Lit. This is Elena Castillo, your host. And today we're going to expand a little bit to the world of Ghana and the world of the internet. We are going live right now in several platforms in social media, namely Your Africa and Visit to Ghana, the Motherland. We have thousands of viewers online. We're also airing in Ghana and in the US. Welcome. Today we have a special guest, and she is one of the founders of Your Africa. And we want to talk about and get deeper into how the experiences that foreigners are having when they first come to Ghana, and why do they keep coming back? So without further ado, we want to introduce to you Ishanna Ruby Nunes. Hi there.
Hi, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm excellent. Thank you. And yourself. Thank you so much for having me today.
Well, thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
So, thank you so much. I really do appreciate you taking the time to have this chat. I want to start out by first learning more about you, right? I want to know how you made it to Ghana, but first tell us about yourself.
So my name is Ishanna Ruby Nunes. I am a mother, entrepreneur, and just a lover of life. I currently work in the insurance industry and also the co-founder of Your Africa nonprofit organization.
Your Africa is a nonprofit organization.
Yes, ma'am.
And what is its mission?
Our mission is to just help promote. We want to be the gap bridger. So our mission is to bridge the gap between our brothers and sisters in the diaspora in Africa. You know, we want to be the narrative. We want to help educate and inform. We were told so many untruths, right? So one of the missions and goals of Your Africa is to provide actual information, current relevant information about not only Ghana, but Africa, the continent of Africa itself.
So you want to provide more accurate information about what Africa is like.
Correct.
So are you more of a educational platform, or are you more of a marketing platform?
Educational slash informative. There are marketing components which help us with another facet of our organization, which is the African Eagles Sporting Club. That is another branch of Your Africa. The African Eagles Sporting Club, that is boys soccer at the moment, but from the marketing components from Your Africa, it trickles down to the boys in the football club.
Okay. So you are educational in nature, informative in nature, and you have mission to give back to the community by supporting a soccer team.
We not only support so our goal is not to just support the soccer team. So that's not our only initiative.
Sure.
We do other things. We're currently now sponsored with another organization, Catch It From the Root, and we're doing a pad drive because there is a huge need for education around sanitary napkins and the provision for sanitary napkins for girls across Africa. So we're a part of that as well.
That is huge. That is huge. Okay, we're gonna dive into that in a moment. So,
Okay.
as a non for profit, obviously there's, and as you learn more, you're gonna learn more needs of the country and how can
Fill
you
those
assist?
needs.
Yes. Um, um, what? Where are you from originally?
So I was originally born in the States, but I grew up and did, I'd say, 97% of my schooling in Jamaica. So Jamaica is home. I'm a 100% yard girl.
Ah! There's that accent,
Yeah.
which I cannot duplicate. um,
Often imitated, but never
Never
duplicated.
duplicated. Okay, so you were in the States, and then what brought you to Ghana? What was the connection? What was that? How did that begin?
So, as I just mentioned, I lived in Jamaica for the majority of my life. Ghana has just been always in my heart. I remember the first time, my first conscious memory of wanting to travel to Africa was at about 10 years old. I remember telling my dad we should move to Africa. And
Really?
at the time, my dad said, like, when you get bigger, you could do what you want to do. Fast forward to maybe about 19. I was finishing high school, 18, 19, finishing high school and thinking about what next to do with my life. And I actually applied to the University of Ghana at that time. And then
Wow.
I found out I was with child and having my first son. So that kind of diverted that course. And fast forward to many years later, I was working in education at work one day, and my spirit was like, we need to go to Africa. And I printed a map, and on the map, I was like, all right, Spirit, what we doing? And it said circle Ghana and Nigeria. And I did that. And I just put it to the side for a couple of days because I didn't know, my spirit was just talking to me.
Right.
So it said circle Ghana and Nigeria. That's what it did. About 3 days later, I came back and I was at work just kind of thinking all these thoughts. And my spirit was like, book your ticket now. We're going to Ghana. And I booked my ticket and I went by myself. My family that knew that I was going, they were like kind of concerned
Mm.
because it's not like I'm going
Yeah.
to Jamaica. It's like halfway across the world.
Yes, and you're
So
going by yourself.
I was going by myself, but it is the best thing, the best decision that I could have ever made.
Really?
Um, there was nothing, when I got to Ghana, there was nothing about Ghana that felt unfamiliar. Everything felt natural, like I had been there before. Um, so stepping out of the plane and actually stepping onto the tarmac for the first time, I felt at home, and I knew that that was my place of peace. It's like, yeah, your daughter's home now.
Wow. That's powerful. It's funny that you say about 10 years old. Um, I'm originally from Dominican Republic, and at 10 years old, I was standing in front of my grandparents' house, and my mother had been in the States. I still had not immigrated to the US then. And we waited for her, and then she arrived, and we were talking outside in front of the house, greeting some people. And I sort of stepped into this space almost like I was daydreaming. And I was literally having these visions of me being in Africa, and I had tons of kids running after me.
Hmm.
And I kind of snapped into like, why am I being chased? And then I started running, and then I turned back, and then I wasn't being chased. They came and embraced me, and
Wow.
there was a bunch of kids around me, and then I kind of snapped back into like, where what are we doing? Oh,
Reality.
yeah, I'm here, whatever. We left, and my mom told me um, that spoke about that for years and years and years as a kid, about that exact vision, I guess I had. And so I went to Africa for the first time in about 2015, 2016, around my birthday. And when I saw part of that, what
The
I saw in
vision.
that vision when I was there, right? Because
Absolutely.
it's different than Dominican Republic, but
Yes.
it's similar in some ways. But there were some things that were exact, like
I
even
can relate.
the dirt,
Yes.
and and then the kids and
Just certain images,
right,
and I can I
yeah,
can absolutely relate, which is kind of why I said when I got there, nothing felt unfamiliar. It was like I had been there before.
yeah,
Um, so that's definitely something that I can relate to because that was my experience. I got to Ghana and I didn't want to leave.
yeah.
Like I don't want to go back to the States.
Yeah, yeah. And I think it's important to mention this experience, and I don't want to stay too long on it, but I do think that it's important to talk about it because that is almost the thread that sometimes keeps you there when you can hear outside influences or other things that say, you know what, because there's certain things outside in the US that and comforts that we are used to having
Used
that
to.
can make it easier and say, hey, you know what, I don't want to do this. But there is that, and somebody would ask me, well, why keep coming back, or why do you
Why not?
continue to yeah, well, why not is a good one. But I also feel like I always tell people, just visit, right? Don't worry about moving, don't worry about changing your whole world and all that.
First step
It's
is
like,
to visit.
yeah, just
Yes.
visit and try to experience it and then let that lead you. Um, because when you for me, it was the description that I always have is that embrace. And that embrace I had in that vision is the same embrace that I felt when I first came to Ghana. Now I
It's
have a
kind
lot
of
of
like a warmth.
experiences.
It's
Yes.
kind of like a
Yes.
warmth that it's like you're just wrapped in,
Yeah.
swaddled in warmth like a baby.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
It's the
can
embrace, and
relate.
it's embrace that
Yeah.
have, and it's a lot connected to being seen, because you can come to the US and not be seen. It's hard to explain what it's like to not be seen until you're really seen,
Yes.
right? So that's strange that we were talking about. You were talking about 10 years old, and I'm talking about 10 years old exactly. It's the same, and
Literally.
we're airing this show on the 10th.
Yes. Yes.
Oh my
10,
goodness!
10, 10. The power
Yes,
of numbers. Yes.
yes. All right. So and then so you pick it on the map. You decide that this is where you want to go. Obviously, you have this thing that tells you this is
Soul's
where
desire.
yeah, that you want to go. And then you pick up and go, and you do it on your own because you feel obviously you can't wait. You got to do it. You do it, you arrive, you feel that you're home,
Oh,
and
I knew I was home.
you knew
It
you
was
were
not a
home.
feel. I
Yeah,
knew I
you
was
knew
home.
you were home. And so you don't want to leave. And before you leave, then what decision do you make in your mind? Like, I'm coming back to do
Literally, I
what?
was like, I am coming back to live and be free. So I understand that anywhere you go, there's kind of like a cycle. It's either you're the employer or you're the employee. And being from Jamaica, we operate more like Ghanaians in the sense where um, ownership. So I grew up in a family where you were taught the value of hard work and understanding, like hard work. So going to Ghana and seeing just the ladies hustling in the streets, the kids hustling in the streets, the guys hustling in the streets, it made me think of what can I do? You don't want to go back to Ghana to join the workforce. You want to go to Ghana to create something for yourself as well as the people because the economy in Ghana cannot maintain, it can't sustain the life that you're used to living in America. So even in that aspect, I was like, okay, we're here in America. We have the resources to be able to either work online. Not everyone is a boss. Some people, everybody can be an Indian. You need some chiefs, right? So it's
Right.
either you find some type of remote work, or you create an opportunity that's not only going to benefit yourself, but that will also benefit the community, or wherever it is that you're going to choose to reside in Ghana. So those were some of my thoughts, like what can I do for myself now to make sure that when I make this transition, I'm okay. You know, no one, I can't speak for everyone, but I'm used to a certain type of freedom, and I don't intend to try to be in the US working until I'm 62 to get a $300 social security check.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So I think also too, it's kind of like a I'm not sure what word I need to use, but the what you're saying is I'm I'm going back to Ghana and I'm going home, and my thought was I want to live free, and I don't and I want to be more of an employer than employee.
My thought was I was not put here on this earth to work for someone for the rest of my life. My thought was, you know, here in the States, unless you can make it, right? But
Mhm.
you need, it's almost like you need a helping hand. So
Mhm.
my thought was I was not put here to work for the rest of my life, meaning work as an employee for someone
Mhm.
else.
Right.
I wasn't
So
put here for that, none at all. So
yeah.
yeah, it's like I need to be free. I need freedom, flexibility, and financial security, the three F's.
Right.
And
But
I can see that in Ghana.
right. And but that's what I find that interesting is that okay. So we know about the vast differences in in the economy and the class and the income levels, right? You have there's almost hard to see a middle class, right?
Return.
Um you either see you either see well off people and then really a lot of poverty, right? So when you first go into and you tour Ghana, you see all this poverty and you go, oh my gosh, right? And those are a lot, most of the images that we have been shown in the US, right? Or abroad, the whole world, really. So when you see all that poverty and you're telling people, well, I went to Ghana and I went to Africa and I want to go back because I want to be free and I want to be free financially and I want to be more of an employer, not an employee the rest of my life. People hear and they go, "What? Like what?" Right? It's like,
Yeah.
wait, how
They're
can
like,
how
how do
can
you
that?
do that in
Yeah,
Africa?
how do you do
Like,
that in Africa? Right?
yeah.
And also for the people that are in Ghana that are listening, who are saying, no, I want to come to America. Like, what are you doing? Why? And so I don't want to discount the fact that uh, the United States, it's been a blessing and it's been a great experience also to uplift ourselves
Yeah.
in education and financially. But going back, I think what it does is because when you go into a country where you are seen and you feel valued, you also, and there's so much opportunity for growth, you see a level of opportunity that you maybe perhaps don't get a chance to participate in the US,
In the US, correct.
right?
That is very true. In Ghana, there is more um, ease of access to do the things that you dream of doing in the US, as far as business, um, as far as just living. I had a conversation with someone recently about, just the price of rental. Um, you know, in Ghana, you can rent a home, let's say high side $2,000, just depending on where and how you want to live for a year. Meanwhile, in the States, some people are paying $2,000 just to keep the roof over their head. That's not including any additional expenses. So when people ask me why Ghana, these are some of the conversations that we have.
So you talk about the rents again, also the side that you have when you are making dollars and still cannot afford to sustain yourself. I want to also mention that when you're in Ghana making CDs, for those locally out there is also, it can be difficult to sustain yourself and pay your everyday expenses based on what you earn there.
Yes.
So when we bring in dollars, we can make that dollar go a little bit longer. And also, it's not just, I had someone mention that, oh, the foreigners come and they our rents are going higher in Ghana because we're coming in because the rent is cheap to us, but it's expensive to those that are there. And I want to also mention that while that may seem like the case, we also have a greater opportunity to employ more people. And as small business owners, we are employing people that help us around in our homes, in our business,
In all
and
areas.
in all areas of setting up our business. Okay, enough of that. So now you decide that you want to uh, go back, and this is where you see an opportunity to really put your dreams to the test. I use that a lot, and I have a workshop with that where I always tell people, you just got to do it. Put your dreams to the test, because if you don't ever put your dreams to the test, you're not going to be settled, right? So you're
Correct.
putting your dreams to the test. And now, how do you plan when you come back to the States? Like, how do you plan on doing that? Like, what is your
Mindset.
your mindset and your planning for the next year? Like, okay, what am I going to do in the first quarter, second quarter, and that kind of thing?
So um I'm a parent, right? So, parents, we plan. Um it's kind of like writing out. So what I
Your
did like a
syllabus.
big a brain dump, right? Let me get everything out so I can see it. Let me take away the things that are not important, that I can put to the side to focus on the major things that I need to help me make this move. What are the major things? The major things is One of the major things is finances. How do I sustain myself financially while I'm in Ghana? Here many of us have 9 to 5, so we know, where that financially, we know where it's coming from. Going home now, you create this thing, so you have to create a system as to how am I going to, take care of myself financially. If you own a house, like, what do I do with my house? Do I rent it? Do I sell it? Um, these are if you have kids, you have to think about schooling for your kids. Culture shock. It's not just like, let me take my kid to Ghana tomorrow and we're going to live
Mhm.
there. Even though that may work for some, that may not work for everyone. So as a parent, or just in general, these are some of the things that I had to think about. It's not just get up and go, because what a lot of people fail to understand is that living in Ghana is different from vacationing for 2 months. After the smoke settles, right? The vacation is over now, and now
Reality
you're
sets in.
real life reality. It's like,
Yeah,
whoa. And I've
yeah.
heard stories of a lot of people that have had to retreat and come back to the States because they weren't adequately prepared, because they
Mhm.
thought living life in Ghana was going to be a big vacation, when it's not. It really is more serious than that.
Yeah, it's work. I mean, you have to work. It's not, it's not just being from Dominican Republic and you from Jamaica, right? We are used to um, seeing droves of people vacationing, right? I mean,
Yeah,
droves. That is what sustains the countries, right? It's
that's
tourism.
yes. One
And
of the
so
backbones of Jamaican economy is tourism.
it's tourism. And so you see people from all over the world all the time, and you grow up like that. Ghana is young in its influx of Americans, although they've had foreigners come from different places. But usually, people that have been coming in have not um, going to a third world country is very different than going to, say, a resort
Very true.
or a vacationing spot, or when you're going to live in a third world country, there's a lot of preparation needed for you to to be able to
Make
do
that
that
transition.
and to make the
Sure.
transition. And I think people don't spend enough time in that preparing. So um, we are going to do that and help people do that by talking more and airing these types of shows on Your Africa platform and Visit to Ghana,
The
the
motherland.
motherland. And I think it's helpful to share. Next time, and on the next time that I have you, we want to discuss further about not just the great experience, but also um, what is it that they say? The good, the bad, and the
The
ugly.
good, the bad, the ugly.
Yes,
Everything.
everything. And we still
Because
keep coming back, and why?
I was just gonna say, in order to give people the real, you have to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. It's not just good. If as a parent you have a child and you don't warn them about certain dangers, you're not adequately preparing your child. So it's the same way with, giving our brothers and sisters information about Africa and moving to Africa. We're not just, going to sugarcoat and tell you everything that you want to hear. We're going to present the good. We're going to present the bad, because in everything you do, you have challenges, and you have to have the information to be prepared to overcome those challenges. And that's a part of
Absolutely.
what we want to do. Help provide that information to help you overcome, or to help you avoid these obstacles, not
Right.
even to overcome, because in Jamaica we say prevention better than cure. So we don't want, yeah, we're not trying to help you fix the obstacle. We're trying to help you navigate and
Right.
avoid certain, learn from other people's mistakes.
Right. And sometimes it's hard for people to do that, and they have to experience it for themselves.
Very true.
And in Ghana, you want to move a lot slower in certain
Uh,
things, and it's hard for people to grasp that when you go and you speed, just it could be a colossal of a mess if you just speed because it's Ghana's at a different pace in every area.
I love, I mean, you know, apart from certain little things, I love the pace that
Yeah,
Ghana moves at. It's just the right pace.
for
That's
you.
it. Yes, just the right pace.
I need it a little bit faster. Oh.
I beg.
I beg, just a little faster. Oh, no. Um, but no, but it's good to understand that, right? That you have to kind of dial down a bit. And that's what helps us relax too, right?
Yeah.
Tell me about the best city that you went to in Ghana and the best experience and why.
I'm not trying to have all the Ghana come for me. So there is no one best city.
Oh,
There is no one best city. Um, so I've been to, I mean, like I said, there is no one best city. My love for Ghana encompasses all of Ghana, because it's like you're having a kid and you have to choose which child you love the most. You can't.
oh,
Um,
come on. Yes, you can. No, I'm just kidding.
well, okay. Well,
No, you're
I don't
right.
like
No, but you're
I don't
right.
like the city. So my personal preference is outside of Accra.
Okay.
Again,
Yes.
growing in Jamaica, Accra is much like Kingston. It's congested, choked. Put me way out. Put me in the
Yes.
Oki region. Put me in the Volta region. I'm fine. It-
Got you.
I can drive an hour or three to the city. I'm fine with that. But
Okay.
outside of the city is my preference.
Absolutely. Okay. Me too. I like the central region area.
Yeah,
But yes, the outskirts, it gives you a little bit more time to relax
you can
and
just.
soak everything in.
I was just gonna say, you can hear yourself think.
Yes.
It's a different sense of peace that you have. Um, my thought process is leaving from the states, living in the city would be just like me living in the states. That's not
Right.
why that yeah, that I'm not leaving America to come live in the heart of Accra. It may be okay to do business, but at the end of the night, when you're ready to go to your safe place, I don't want that to be in Accra.
Yeah.
Let it be way out in the boondies. I'm fine with that.
Ishanna Ruby Nunes.
Yes,
Uh,
ma'am.
I would love to have you again. We are going to stay online for those that are online, but This is Culturally Lit. You're listening to Culturally Lit and Culturally Lit Africa. We are discussing Visit to Ghana. Please follow Visit to Ghana, the motherland, online on Facebook, and Your Africa, YOR, Year of Return.
AFRICA. Our social media handles are Visit to Ghana, the Motherland on Facebook, Your Africa, YORAFRICA, as well as African Eagles Sporting Club, AESC.
And we are going to have also uh, which you should mention on the next segment. The leader of the club in Ghana too is in the Volta region area, and we want to talk more about what you're doing in Ghana and how can people get involved. Thank you for listening to Culturally Lit and Culturally Lit Africa, and we'll see you the next time.
Bless up.
O- Okay, so now we are still online. I want to talk to you more,
Okay.
and then we can wrap it up and maybe schedule another interview.
Okay.
The Volta region. How long does it take you to drive from Accra to the Volta region?
Maybe like 3 to 4 hours.
3 or 4 hours.
Yeah.
So when you go to Ghana, do you stay in Accra for any length of time, or do you just go straight to the Volta region?
Um, when I arrive, I normally don't stay in Accra. Um, I'll stay, well, maybe for a night, I'll stay in the city. Like when I just arrive or when it's closer for me to leave, I'll come back just because, transportation, traffic is a nightmare in Ghana. So, um, like maybe a day or two before it's time for me to leave, I'll come to the city. But I'm in Kumasi, I'm in the Eastern region, I'm in the Volta region.
Okay,
I'm just like a nomad. I'm all over when I
all
go somewhere.
over. And
Yeah.
how long do you usually stay?
The longest I've stayed was about 2 months, and the shortest I've stayed was about 10 days. So my first trip was actually supposed to be for 2 weeks, and I got to Ghana and I loved it so much. And I kept saying, like, I wish I could just stay. And no coincidence, I was in my hotel room one night, and I have a cousin in Ghana through marriage, and he came to look for me, and we saw a plane pass through the window, and I was like, it'll be something if that's my plane leaving tonight, right? And I go to the airport, and the airport looks like a ghost town. I mean, like, hey, rolling through the corridors, and I'm like, hey, I have a flight, and the guy was like, well, the last flight has already gone, right? So I told myself I wanted to stay in Ghana. I saw a plane going past my window. I just said it, just randomly. I'm like, it'd be funny if that's my plane leaving me. I got to the airport, and
That was your plane
that
leaving
was
you.
my plane leaving me. So I ended up staying an additional 3 weeks while I got all of that sorted out. So
So how did you manage to go to the airport at the wrong time, or was it, or how did it?
it was my first time in Ghana, so there's a time difference. So I just
Ah,
wasn't paying attention to like the
got
time
you.
on the ticket
Yes,
versus
the time you were in a
the
different
time
time zone.
difference. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so that's awesome. We were in Ghana for the pandemic, and COVID made us stay even longer. And so it was a wonderful experience to give to the children. Have you traveled there with your kids yet?
I have not traveled with my kids. My eldest is in his mid 20s. My youngest is still a teenager. So um,
You have
they're
someone in their mid-20s? How? Ah, what?
you know good melanin don't crack. I be from
Yes,
Africa, so
yes,
we
yes, yes.
melanin stays good. Um, but it's my intention to bring both of my boys with me. It's a conversation that we've been having. So like I mentioned earlier, um, sometimes just taking your kids out of one environment to say this is where we're going to live now, it can be culture shock.
Yes, yes.
um, so especially with my teenager, I think it's important for us to visit first. He's
Mhm.
aware of Africa. We talk about Africa. He knows about Africa, but I want you to come and experience it for yourself. He'll see it's much like Jamaica, but it's just for him to have that experience for himself and form his own opinions. That's
Yes.
important.
So when do you see yourself um, actually living there? A
Actually
year
making
from
my
now,
exodus.
5 years from now? Yeah.
Oh no, 5 years is too. Oh, I beg, 5 years is too long.
I beg.
No, more like within the next year or two.
Or
So
two.
I really want it to be now. If I could morph myself to Ghana, I would be at home right now. But I do have obligations here that I have to
Yes.
tend to. So even like you mentioned earlier, what are some of the things that's taking care of these obligations that I have to make sure that when I leave, I don't need to look back.
Yes. Yes. How do you set yourself up to actually? How do you determine if I'm going to set up this business in Ghana to sustain myself in Ghana? And how do you determine whether or not um, you can sustain yourself indefinitely with the business that you decide to get involved in?
I think it's all about doing your research. You have to do your research before just jumping into any venture. So you just make sure, do your research, and a part of that is going, if you're going to go into a community, see the needs of the community. What needs does the community that you're going to be living in or mixing in, what needs do they have, and how can you help solve some of those problems, or how can you help fill some of those needs that they have? And I mean, it's it's really not hard. It's see a need and you be the person to fill that need
Fulfill
or
that
help
need.
fill that void. Yes. So it's
And
it's
your
really all
yeah,
about knowing the market.
and your level of income um, is tied to the size of the problem that you solve.
That you're trying to solve.
Yeah,
Yes.
no matter where you are in the world, right? So tell me about this sanitary um, pads and the venture to help women. Is it anywhere in Africa or just in Ghana or
No,
what?
it is currently so we're currently partnering with Catch It From the Root Foundation.
Mhm.
Jillian Murray is the CEO, and we're also working with Pad for Her, a nonprofit foundation in Ghana. So together, um, we are currently now doing a pad drive where every dollar um, contributed goes directly toward buying sanitary napkins, as well as education
On how
for
to
these
use
young
them?
ladies. Yes, yes. So our sponsor, we partnered with Rain Pads. I spoke with an awesome gentleman, Jerome Chambers from Rain Pads, and he's agreed to help us with this drive that we're doing. So we Catch It From the Root, Your Africa Pad Her Project. um, we're sponsored with Rain Pads, and we're currently doing this Pad Her project for young girls in Ghana. It's an initiative, pad one girl at a time. There's no reason why young ladies don't have access to a necessity. So, this is not something that we can put to the side or say that, I don't want it this month or I'm going to put it off until next month. It's something that we have to deal with every day for some
Yeah.
women, like,
Yeah,
so
it's every day, every month. Also, the financial, the
the
ability to have
financial.
to purchase these things and use them.
And there
Um,
are girls that, during that time, they have to miss school because they can't afford sanitary napkins. And that should never be the case. That literally, that should never be the case. Sanitary napkins is an essential for women, and we need to make it more available to these young girls.
so I am all about female woman empowerment, and it starts early. To have that experience can be a little bit demoralizing to not have to be able to take care of yourself and feel embarrassed for something that
Yes.
is natural. Um, So I think this is a very important initiative. I hope to have the CEO on and have your partners on, and we can talk about more about what kind of help you need in order to get more support and the distribution of it, and how you get it to the girls, and also how can the communities that you want to be in be aware that
And
you
get
are there.
involved.
Yes,
Yeah.
and get involved. So we're going to continue to use our network and work our network to support each other and supporting Ghana. So we're not just going there just to live.
No.
uh,
Um, Anywhere you go, the goal is to be an asset. So I don't want to just go to Ghana just to go to Ghana. I want to go to Ghana to empower those around me, help build my community, um, educate and empower, from the youngest to the oldest, because that's just that's what we're supposed to do as humans. Like,
yes, yes, yes. The purpose driven life. uh,
yes,
Um, so I just want to say we are having a women-led event in June. We're going to incorporate celebrations of Juneteenth, and when I say we, uh, we're involving all of you too, watching. Uh, you, Madame Nunes, visit to Ghana, the motherland, and your Africa. And our hope is that CLN TV and all of my network can continue to grow along with your network, so that we can be a better support to ourselves, to our business, and to those that we serve in Ghana.
in Ghana, one hand
Yes.
help another.
Yes, yes,
Yes,
absolutely. This show, Culturally Lit, will also be in anywhere you listen to your podcast. So, thank you so much
you're
for taking the
absolutely
time.
welcome. Thank you again for having me. Thank you for opening up your platform for me to be able to speak about our organization and what it is that we do. Um, again, I just encourage everyone to visit Africa in general. Ghana isn't the only country in Africa. Ghana may not be your cup of tea, but I encourage my brothers and sisters to go home, even once. It may completely change your life.
Absolutely. Thank you. And I do want to say we want to talk about, we want to have different segments and talk about how do you prepare to move to Ghana and have your children in school? How do you prepare to start a business in Ghana? Where do you go? How do you do that? How do you buy land? We've heard there's horror stories and there's great stories. So we want
Yeah.
to balance that out. How do you do that? How do you protect yourself and your investments, right? So
And
we're
these
going
are
to
really
continue the
important questions.
conversation. Yes, we want to continue the conversation, and we want to do that through our own experiences and be able to share, you know, the pain and the glory,
The good
all
and bad.
the good and the
Because
bad.
like we said earlier, if we're being genuine to our brothers and sisters, it's important that we share both experiences, the good and
Yes,
the bad, because we don't want to set you up to come halfway across the world to fail.
absolutely, absolutely. Uh, Thank you so much. Thank you everybody for watching. Tune again next Saturday. We should be coming again live to you, and let's see if we can keep the support going amongst our groups. If you have any questions, if you're watching later on, I know this is early right now, but on social media, go ahead and comment where you're watching from and why you would like to visit Ghana, and connect with us, and maybe come visit in June 2024.
Yes, yes.
Thank you for watching. Bye bye now.